Good morning, everybody. This is another episode of A Win is a Win podcast, joined by your host, Sam Cookie, which is myself, HDouble, say hello.
Hello.
We've also got MattyB.
What's up, everybody?
He's an extra special guest today because he's actually phoning in from San Antonio today.
Oh my gosh.
He's so excited for it, I know. But today's a special episode. Today's actually Memorial Day. And we actually plan to film this episode in the morning. So it's a little bit different today. I think we all got our beauty sleep last night, so we'll all be good to go. We have a huge topic to start today off. We are all very close in the midst of the NBA playoffs, and there is a very exciting Game 7 happening later tonight between the Heat and the Celtics. We didn't really touch them up too much last episode, so we want to kind of give our thoughts on that, predictions, ideas on what's going to happen later tonight, and yeah, we'll start from there. So do either one of you want to start on the Heat and the Celtics topic?
Well, I was going to say we kind of both give a little bit of an intro, and then we jump into, we each have our little moment to discuss about something. But Sam, should we delight Matt and the listeners with our song from yesterday?
Oh my gosh.
Sam and I went to Ha Tonka with a couple other friends, a state park, and we came up with this kind of catchy hike song.
Charles was hooked on it, I guess, but
I think it's pretty fun, at least when we're hiking. Should we spill it, or should we just keep it in the glove box?
We might have to save it for later in the podcast. Maybe when we get really hyped up. It was a lot of fun. Charles and I did come up with a song to help get through the hike, and yeah, I guess it hasn't gone through Charles's mind yet. He's obsessed with it.
It's catchy, man. I don't know.
It is very catchy. I'll say that.
It's catchy, yeah.
Charles actually texted me out of the blue last night, a few hours after we hiked, and I was totally clueless as to what he was talking about. It's like, what is he saying? But yeah, no, I remember it now. It is pretty catchy and fun, so it'll be fun to share.
Yeah, Matt, you got anything?
Not really. I mean, good weekend for sports for a lot of things. I know we'll be talking about soccer later, so I don't know if you've noticed, Charles and I, we've been repping the teams, Obviously Sam's not repping his team because, loser. But
yeah, we'll talk about that later.
He's not a loser. He just has a very not good team. But no, I mean, I'm pretty happy to be here in San Antonio. I'm glad to be the special guest, as Sam said. I don't get to be a special guest very often, so
yeah,
I'll take it.
Yeah, it's a special day. We'll later on in the podcast we'll talk a bit about soccer. There's a reason why I didn't really have in mind to rep Tottenham. But we'll talk about it later in the podcast too. But, yeah, do you guys have any more thoughts, I guess, before we move on to our first topic? We're all good.
Thumbs up, good.
Thumbs up.
Yeah.
I know Charles is dying to talk about bring the song back up later in the podcast, but we'll save it as a special treat. But, no, the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics. It was a pretty proven series, I thought, after 3 games. Jimmy Buckets, MJ Jr., they led the Heat to a 3-0 lead after the first 3 games, and the Celtics have actually come back. Very surprisingly, most of people thought they were done. It was going to be a 4-game series sweep, but they came back. They won last night. They won the 2 previous games before, so the series is actually tied 3-3 now, and they are playing the deciding Game 7, which will decide the series later today. And it's just very shocking because I did not think this has a chance to be the first series ever to come back from a 3-0 lead in the playoffs. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
I do have to interject. My bets for Game 4 did not hit. I was like a game off. I think Game 5, both of the Celtics ones, actually happened.
Yeah. Which is Yeah.
Sorry, game 5 they didn't hit. Game 6 they would have, both of them. So I was game off. I was expecting a little more.
Apologize.
Yeah.
Actually, your Celtics ones for game 6 wouldn't have hit either. Because you predicted Al Horford 10+ points. He scored 4 in game 6, and then Marcus Smart 6+ rebounds, and he had 4 in game 6.
Oh, so did I not do the Jason Tatum one? Oh, I thought I did.
No, it's in resources. Yeah, we got it marked, man. We got you on record.
We kept the receipts on you, Matt.
That's my bad. I'll be better for the finals, I promise.
I was going to bring that up actually, but Matt brought it up himself. So
yeah, hey, I'll be better for the finals. Promise, everyone.
Yeah, he'll make it up to us. I promise.
I will.
But no, Jimmy Butler, he did not look like his usual self last game. Charles and I could have agreed on that. I believe he finished the game on 5 for 18 shooting, which is abysmal. It is just not himself. He barely scraped by with 30 points. It feels like he performed to get 10 points for the whole game, but he kind of surged more at the end. But it was the Boston show for the whole game. I don't want to spoil anything big because the game just finished last night. But Derek White definitely outperformed everyone on the team. It kind of seemed like same with Jason Tatum, but Jason Tatum is known to always do that. Derek White had an incredible tip in to end the game. They clutched it up at the very last second. I was actually watching the game with my uncle live, and we didn't even think that the ball was tipped in at the very end because I believe Tatum passed it in to Derek White. I could be wrong about that.
White passed it into Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart tried to hit a shot, missed it, and then Derek White with
he tipped it in for him.
0.1, right? Is when the ball actually left his hand.
Yeah.
That's whenever
it was pretty crazy. Originally we thought when we were watching the game live, someone fouled Derek White, I think, because they were pretty close to each other. But no, they miraculously, they clutched up with enough time too. But I thought the buzzer was completely over too. So it's pretty crazy how the game ended.
As my dad would tell me in basketball, always got to watch the inbounder. And guess what?
Yeah.
Max Strus, I believe, did not watch the inbounder. Just let Derek White run right to the rim, which, to be fair, there wasn't really. It had to bounce that way for him to get it.
Well,
so
I mean, to be fair though, on that play, they were doubling Jason Tatum, and so at that point, you would rather double. I'd rather double Jason Tatum than the inbounder. Because very rarely, how many times with 3 seconds left does the ball bounce that way, And then when you look at the play too, Max Strus was probably if he was maybe, I don't know, 6'8" or 6'9", right? He's probably blocking that ball. If you look at the replay, his hand is literally this close. It's probably 2 inches from the ball being blocked. So, I agree with you. You do have to watch the inbounder, but when you have Jason Tatum there too, I think I'd rather double Jason Tatum and have the inbounder beat me than Jason Tatum. You know what I'm saying?
I think he just, that's true. And so the defense was shifted a bit, but he definitely, for a split second, kind of got no man's land and just let him get by. So he had the step. But of course, like I said, it's a really low probability anyways with how much time was left. If the ball bounces anywhere else, Derek White probably can't get that. And you saw how much time was left when he got it. But so it's not really Max Strus's fault, but I'm just saying you got to always watch the inbounder. So that's the lesson. But when the Heat went up 3-0, this was when the Nuggets were up 3-0. And the Heat destroyed the Celtics in game 3, right? The Celtics were embarrassing. People were clowning on them. They didn't really look like they cared. So you're thinking to yourself, okay, this is probably a sweep too. Seems like the Celtics have already checked out. But when you kind of take a dive back into it and you realize this Heat team, besides Jimmy Butler, you look at who they have, because they lost Tyler Hero and they lost Victor Oladipo, and they've had definitely some guys step up, Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, Caleb Martin. But you look at their overall talent of their roster and you think to yourself, because Bam's pretty good, but Bam's not really an offensive threat. only on some nights he is. But you look at their overall roster talent right now, because especially losing Tyler Hero, and you go, man, they really don't have that much talent, and you compare it to the Celtics, who have a really strong 8-man rotation. And you definitely argue their players, are better than the Heat's players, especially once you get past Jimmy and Bam. And so when you look at it like that in that kind of standpoint, it's not too surprising that it's tied now. But obviously the nature of how it's been tied is very shocking. And I don't know what's exactly flipped in the Celtics, being down 3-0. It's probably pretty easy to just be like, it's easily, we could just check out and go to Cancun and just get swept. It's probably, pretty easy to think that, but they've obviously stuck with it, and they've shown that, they can win this series. So yeah, if you're the Heat, I just think that I think the Celtics have finally made some adjustments, and Jimmy has, had to carry so much. It's been difficult, and he shot 5 for 21 this game 6. It's been difficult for him because he really runs the whole offense and has been running the whole offense. And the Celtics are figuring out ways to kind of take that away. And they're playing because Jimmy would get into he would be able to kind of drive and get where he wants, shoot his mid-range or pass it, because the defense would collapse. But they're doing a better job of making it more physical in Jimmy, and then those role players aren't hitting the shots that they were hitting for the Heat either. They're missing. They're not as hot as they were those first 3 games, and so that's starting to obviously it's crumbled for them, and now we're in a game 7. And yeah, it's been. I thought it was going to be a sweep, really. And then when they won game 4, I was like, they might win game 5, but I was like, Heat in 6 for sure. And to be honest, I know the Heat obviously probably should have won, but in all honesty, the Celtics probably should have won. They were up 10 with like 4 minutes left. And then the Heat kind of just got on a late surge, and Jimmy kind of finally hit some shots. They made their free throws. He got fouled on the 3. He makes all 3 to take the lead. But like, truly, for the majority of the game, the Celtics played better, so they probably deserved to win anyways. And obviously they were able to get lucky, and the ball bounced their way to a streaking Derek White for a tip in. So I don't know. I can't believe this a game 7. This is the 4th time ever that we've seen this when a team's down 0-3. So
it's pretty crazy to see happen, for sure. A lot of people were counting the Celtics out after game 3 because of just how dominant the Heat were, but it's almost starting to look like it was a fluke a little bit. I was definitely on that train that the Celtics had no chance after that game 3 blowout. And so I guess something in like the locker room made the momentum shift really well. Like maybe the Celtics need to get clowned on a little bit to realize, hey, we're in the Eastern Conference Finals. Let's not mess this up and embarrass ourselves. But yeah, no, it's crazy to see that the series is going to a game 7. I'm for one. It would be really awesome to see the first ever 3-0 comeback in the playoffs like this. The Celtics are definitely a deserving team. They play really well. Things have finally seemed to click, especially last game. They were barely. I don't believe they were leading by more than 10 for most of the game, but it looked a lot more. It looked a lot less closer than what the actual game score seemed to be. I don't feel like the Heat barely had any of a chance in these last 3 games to win a game. So the Celtics definitely have a momentum coming into game 7. They're also playing. Am I wrong, Charles? I see those picture reactions.
Hey, it's not just me. Matt's over there too.
Hey, you can keep going. I have a little rebuttal, but you can keep going.
Okay.
I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm making some questionable takes. Okay. But I was going to say they're also playing game 7 in Boston. And I know how much of a crowd fan base around you can help affect the team. So I was originally a big Heat bandwagoner, but I think I would have to make my prediction for the Celtics to take this game 7.
History. You're going for the history.
Yeah, unless MJ Jr. has like a ghost flu game and he just drops like a 60 bagger on Celtics.
A 60 bomb.
60 bomb, yeah.
The Celtics have tended to play really well in game 7s at home the last 2 years. So
yeah, that's
definitely in their favor. So
kind of go off Sam's thing to kind of rebut a little bit. I think that the Heat have actually played well. Last night or Saturday night, should the Heat have won? I think so, like 100%. Like in game 4, I believe they just got trounced, which was like fine, whatever. And then game 5, it was kind of close to the very end. But game 6, when you were watching it, it was like the Celtics were just trying to give the game like away. Like they could never put them away. Granted, I know that the Celtics shot, I think 25 or like 20% from 3, because the only people making it was Marcus Smart and Derek White. And then the Heat, I believe, were like 41 or 42% from 3. And granted, I think we'd have to say the Heat do have better 3-point shooters than the Celtics, at least in my opinion. I mean, having Duncan Robinson, having Gabe Vincent, Caleb Martin, and Max Strus, I would say is a little better than like Derek White and Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, just because Tatum and Brown aren't really 3-point shooters. They're more like mid-range / driving, and that's what they're good at. I mean, and then in that third quarter, you saw Jason Tatum kind of took over and was driving to the lane, getting whatever he wanted. But they had multiple 10-point leads, and the Heat kept coming back. And I think that's something like that's kind of like the Heat culture, right? Like the don't give up mentality, which is what they did. But when you look at the end of the game, I mean, Boston did everything they could to lose that game. Like, I think it was more, it wasn't like, oh, the Celtics won. It was like, I mean, yes, the Celtics won, but like they tried to give it up. Like the Heat were playing probably the worst they could play, because you had Jimmy and Bam Adebayo combined for what? Like I think it was like 10 for 40 or something like that, or 10 for, I mean, it was something ridiculous. We were like, okay, are they going to do that again for a game 7? Probably not. Granted, did Caleb Martin and Vincent, did all them step up, and Duncan Robinson? Like, yes, they did. But you like to think it'd be a little bit more balanced. So for me, it was the Celtics kind of tried to give it away, and they pretty much almost did when Al Horford went for the foul or tried to block it. And for me, it's okay, if Jimmy Butler's going to make that contested 3 on you, like you just tip your cap, say, hey, good job, like don't foul, because then he gets, 3 free throws. And they're super lucky that Derek White crashed the board and was playing hard. I mean, granted, on the other side, Jason Tatum, he was crashing the board on the other side, but it didn't go to him. But I mean, they got super lucky. So for me, should the Heat have won game 6? Oh, I think absolutely they should have. If you do that scenario probably another 100 times, I bet you 99 out of 100 the Heat win that. I mean, just the way the ball bounces and all that stuff. I mean, what if it hit back iron, right? That thing's going way out, like it's done. Like it swirled around, fell to Derek White. That's my opinion. But now for game 7, I think the pressure, it'd be interesting to see who the pressure is on, because you'd like to think, oh, the pressure's on Miami because they lost a 3-0 lead. But is the pressure on the Celtics because they're at home and they should win, right? So I think also too, like playing with pressure maybe went into it as well, because I mean the Heat didn't look like the Heat until like the fourth quarter, and so for me it's kind of a toss up. I want to hear what Charles says. I'm still thinking of who I think is going to win, but those are just my thoughts, and so I'm not coming at you, Sam. I'm just saying for me, I feel like Boston was trying to lose that game and should have, but they got really lucky. That's kind of my take on that. But game 4 and 5, I definitely agree the Celtics did come out and the Heat didn't really have a chance. So that's my opinion.
Yeah, games 4 and 5, more the role players weren't necessarily hitting for Miami. Game 6, it was Bam and Jimmy. Although obviously Jimmy had that late surge, but overall for the game he was not very good. So yeah, are you gonna expect that in game 7? Probably not. And even though Jason Tatum scored 31, he was 0 for 8 from 3. Do I expect that in game 7? No, I don't. He always tends to shoot really well from 3 after a terrible 3-point performance. That's kind of how he's been in the playoffs. So I expect him to make like 4 or 5 at least. So it'll be interesting. Game 7, it's hard for me to pick the Heat because I think this kind of loss is just soul crushing how they lost. you're this close. I mean, but at the same time, it could be it is the Heat, so they could use that as like their fuel. Like we shouldn't have lost, so we're gonna end it here. We'll just get our finals trip that we deserve. But it's hard for me to think that they could really bounce back well over something like that. The Celtics team has confidence. They're home. All the factors point towards the Celtics. And like I said, they've been great in game sevens at home the last couple of years in the playoffs. And it's like I said, it's hard for me to pick the Heat. I still would give them a chance for sure. I definitely think that this is a team that can win. It's the Heat, right? That's one team that any other team in this, if it's the Sixers, like we're probably thinking, yeah, it's Celtics, pretty easily. And look what happened last series, right? Heat, though, that's a team I think it's going to be scrappy. And it's just hard. I don't know. Like, is Jimmy going to give you, he's got to score like at least 30, maybe 40, probably. And it's just, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be, I didn't think it'd come to this. So I'm definitely still kind of shocked about this little series that we're still here. And, the Nuggets are probably just also kind of just like, they're still playing. We still have to wait, but I'm gonna go with the Celtics just because I trust I've liked how they've played in game sevens at home, and it's hard for me to bet against that. But I know that the Heat are not going to make it easy, and this is one team that this is one of the most trustworthy teams I would say is the Heat of any other team for a game like this. So I think it's going to be Celtics, but it'll be tough. It'll be a tough game.
I mean, for the finals, it was always going to be the first game was always scheduled June 1st. So even if the Heat had swept the Celtics, we would have had to wait till Thursday for the first game. I think the Nuggets, I feel like it's hard because you still want to be in that rhythm, but I think it is good for them because they have 3 less games they've played, than, the Celtics and all that stuff. I mean, Brogdon is out now pretty much, I think, for the rest of the playoffs, I believe, and if the Celtics do win, that's kind of a key loss. Because I think we can all agree Denver is probably better than Miami. I think we can kind of agree for that. I mean, Jokic is playing on like another level. He's playing like on like God mode or whatever it is, whatever the 2K setting is, it's like professional. That's literally him. I mean, he's playing like, all time, whatever. But I do kind of agree with Sam because I was like, when I first made my prediction, I was like, oh, Celtics will beat the Heat probably in 5 games. Like I just saw Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown could probably beat the duo of Bam and Jimmy from points wise. And then when I look at the others, it's like, okay, well, they still have Marcus Smart, they have Al Horford, Derek White. At the time, Malcolm Brogdon, people like that. And I was like, I kind of like them more than the Heat. And the Heat came out to a 3-0 lead, and now they've lost it. And I do feel like Game 6 was the game for the Heat to close it out. I mean, they were right there. Literally the Heat didn't play well, but they did literally everything they could to win the game, and they were right there. I mean, they were 0.1 away from going to the finals, And so to me, I feel like that it will be another close game. I think Celtics win by 2. That's what I think. I think Celtics win by 2 tonight. And I'd be more excited for a Denver Celtics finals than a Denver Heat one, just because I think it'd be another probably 5-game series for Denver. But that's what I think. I mean, granted, I do like Denver. I have my Michael Porter Jr. jersey with me right now. I mean, I can go show it to you guys if you want. But I do have my MPJ jersey with me and stuff, so I'd love for the Nuggets to win. But I think the Celtics have it. So I'm like you, Sam. I was like, oh, Celtics. Okay, Heat look good. Maybe I should be on the Heat bandwagon. And I'm back with the Celtics. So that's where I'm at.
I think that's kind of what we all were thinking, honestly. But yeah, does your MPJ Jr. jersey, the Bob the Builder jersey, as CB likes to say?
Yeah,
they're blue ones. He calls them Bob the Builder jerseys. No, I think yours is. Yeah, I've seen you wear it.
That's a cleaner. That's a lot cleaner of a jersey.
Ooh.
I like it.
This is like the one from like 2 or 3 years ago when they were in the bubble.
Yeah, like the bubble jersey.
Yeah,
That's nice. Yeah.
Every team was basically every team was
Yeah,
doing some kind of funky design too.
Yeah, I'm not just like I'm finally a Nuggets fan, no, like I've had that jersey for like probably 3 or 4 years now. And I started liking them just because MPJ was on there. And so yeah, I mean, I would say my second favorite team is Nuggets and probably will be for, I'll keep going with the Nuggets and stuff because I don't really like any of the, oh my gosh, I want to call them American League teams. The
Eastern
East,
Conference.
yeah,
Eastern
I don't really like
Conference.
the Eastern Conference teams. So yeah, so like I said, for a I wouldn't say a guaranteed win, but like maybe an easier path to a ring. As a Nuggets fan, I would like the Heat, but from a series like ratings, like good games perspective, I think that playing the Celtics would be fun.
I would agree with Matt. Yeah. I will say too, that pink Miami Vice Heat jerseys, those are really nice.
Those are nice.
And
I do like those.
if Jimmy Buckets clutches up in this game 7, I think everything will be wiped. His legacy will go down as the true MJ Jr. He has the exact like same face shape as MJ, so I think there's a calling between that. So a Heat Miami Vice Jimmy Butler jersey would be pretty cool too.
So I'm gonna ask you a Max Kellerman question. Are you ready?
Sure.
If we had to do a one-on-one with the Martians tomorrow with aliens, who are you picking? A bum or MJ Jr.'s son?
Oh, MJ, wait, MJ Jr.'s son?
AKA Jimmy Butler.
Okay. So LeBron or Jimmy Butler then?
Yes.
That's a good question.
Fate of the world, remember, it's like one
Yeah,
shot.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. It's like a big like Death Star when he turns the Earth.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. Well, I mean, LeBron's already had his claim to fame. He already had his Space Jam movie. Um, I love Jimmy Buckets for his personality too. He's such a fun guy. Um, I would love to see Butler on like a big stage like that and see him fight the Martians and come out on top.
So you're going with Jimmy Buckets?
Yeah. And then after he shoots like a step back 3, he could do like like the taunt to him too.
Or you can do like the timeout.
Yeah, or like the timeout too. That'd be so fun to watch. I
What
believe that was it Al Horford that did the timeout call at
Yeah.
first and Butler's taunting him.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty awesome to see. I love a little friendly rivalry like that.
Okay. What about you, Charles? Who you picking?
LeBron, because he's already dealt with the aliens in Space Jam, so he has experience.
Definitely the veteran pick.
I think I'm also going with LeGM. I think as much as I love Himmy Buckets, I think he could do it for us. I would feel a little better if it was LeGM.
Yeah, I feel a little more confident and
a little more confident. That's fair. It would be pretty cool to see like LeBron play like a lay GM role, and Butler is like playing the star player on his team. That would be pretty cool to watch.
Maybe that can be Space Jam 3.
Maybe.
Maybe we should pitch it.
We should pitch it to Warner Brothers. Hit us
We
up.
should, but hey, Space Jam 3, LeGM with MJ's son, aka Jimmy Buckets.
MJ is like the true GM. He's watching like his press box.
Yeah, he's the owner.
Yeah, that's like a true dream movie right there.
There you go.
We ready to talk about DHop, I think?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So we didn't actually. Yeah, Sam didn't mention that in the beginning, but we are talking about DHop.
Maybe that was supposed to be our secret topic.
Should we start doing a secret topic every episode? Just kind of
I don't
know.
In there,
and then we'll just be like,
talk about that more that I think about it. That might actually be cool. But
we're gonna talk about this now. Someone listening, if they haven't looked at the descriptions, like
just
what?
Put everyone on the spot like that. I think that'd be fun. But yeah, I think we got all of our NBA talk out of the way. It's gonna be very exciting to watch Game 7 going on tonight. I think I'm gonna bother Charles and hang out in his apartment tonight, but we'll see.
There's
But
a chance of it.
no, yeah. So a few days ago, the Cardinals made a very bold decision to get rid of far and above their best wide receiver on their team. I guess they didn't like any of the trade offers that they got, so they just dropped him. He is a free agent now. The Cardinals, surprisingly, are actually eating up all of the dead cap space that came with DHop too, which is really mind-boggling. It's like 22, $23 million. They're just throwing down.
Yeah, it
But
is surprising that
if he was on the roster till I think it was June, I think it
June,
would have
yeah, it's like June 2nd,
or
June
something.
3rd. It's like, what are
yeah,
they
that's
doing?
weird. And I don't know why they wouldn't trade him for at least maybe a pick or something, but you can tell that the Cardinals are doing something that starts with a T and ends with a ing. But anyways, yeah, tanking. But yeah, keep going, Sam.
What a fall from grace. Like Charles was saying, what a fall from grace of the Cardinals organization from like 2 years ago, even when they started like 11-0, even to this season where star players, JJ Watt, he's dust. He's not even playing anymore. They just lost DHop. What are they doing? I'm not even a Cardinals fan, but like that is such a migraine of a team to root for. I feel so bad for Cardinals fans right now.
I'm not complaining about that first round pick they gave us for Hollywood last year.
Yeah, why? I'm not trying to disrespect Hollywood at all, but I feel like he's really cemented himself as a second wide receiver or even a third. I don't think he has the kind of talent to even move up to a first. Like he doesn't have the hands like DHop. He is number one in the league with just his hands, and the Cardinals just dropped him.
I mean, I would say Hollywood is worth the first round pick if you have someone like DHop,
Mm-hmm.
But now it looks more like that was a bad trade because now you've cut DHop. At least that's how I viewed that as.
Oh, definitely.
But I was really surprised. Like also, I think was it Saturday or Friday? I think something like that is whenever it happened, and I was really surprised because I thought
Friday.
I thought they were gonna trade him, and then nothing. And so I don't know. I think it'd be fun to discuss what team or teams you think are in the running for DHop and which team you think will sign DHop.
Mm-hmm. I feel like it'd be even more frustrating for you, Matt, as a Patriots fan, because I heard there were a lot of trade talks between DHop like a couple of weeks ago and like Bill Belichick. He would have loved a star receiver on that team, but nothing even happened. That would just be even more maddening to think about. But
I mean, we haven't had like a true number one receiver since probably Randy Moss. It's like 07. So like I'm kind of used to not having like a legit wide receiver one, I do wonder if talks kind of stalled, not with the Cardinals, but more with DHop, just because Bill O'Brien is now our offensive coordinator. And they kind of didn't really get along down in Houston, Granted, I think there should be second chances for everyone. But I mean, that's definitely a place I could see, like, for fit wise, is he a need and would he fit in New England? I think 100% he would. Realistically, do I think he'll go there? No. I mean, my destinations, I think it could be either Bills or Jets at this point, I think. But my personal views, I think he'll go to the Bills.
Not the Chiefs.
The Chiefs. Well, the Chiefs don't have cap room. They have like $2 million in cap room.
Yeah,
they don't have
Bills.
cap
Bills don't have too much either, but
they at least have 8 or 9 million, so it's at least better. You can kind of.
I was gonna say, I believe the Bills have closer to 10 million.
But Buffalo, yeah. On here it just says Buffalo has just 1.5 million available space, but if they truly want to add them, they'll find a way to make it work. I don't know. I don't know their cap though. That's just what this says.
Yeah.
Oh, the ESPN Plus article.
No, NFL.com actually.
Oh, okay.
Straight from the source.
It's nice to know that the Ravens are in consideration just because he mentioned obviously Lamar as one of his top 5 quarterbacks to play with, and we were linked to him before the draft as well.
But I don't think Odell. I don't.
Yeah, so. Well, it's also we drafted Zay Flowers, so because we might have still traded for him on draft day potentially, but yeah, I don't think we're in the race. But at least we're still one of the betting odds which is cool. But yeah, I doubt it's us. I'm gonna give you guys someone else because
Mhm.
I do think Bills are good. Jets. I mean, I've even heard like the Browns to pair with
Mhm.
Deshaun Watson again. But I didn't actually realize this team was a betting favorite. But because I thought of when I was thinking about it on my own before looking at any sources, I was like, this team would make sense. I could see this. I was going to say the Cowboys because I know they have cap space and DHop has played in Texas, and I'm pretty sure he said he's like Texas. And I was like, that would make sense because he could be across from CeeDee Lamb. I know they signed Brandon Cooks as well, but like I don't know. I was thinking I could see Jerry
But then you
Jones.
have that vertical threat as
Yeah,
well. Like, I mean,
Mhm.
who
yeah,
can go and jump up, and because I would say CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks are pretty much like 1A, 1B for like the type of receiver they are. Granted, Brandon Cooks is still very good. And CeeDee Lamb is like the slot, but if you have DHop on the outside as your wide receiver 1, Brandon Cooks is wide receiver 2, and then or whatever it is, right? And then CeeDee Lamb as your slot, that's kind of a nasty combo.
and I know they have some cap space, and so I think that the Cowboys. I mean, Jerry Jones is. I don't know. It's hard to predict what Jerry Jones is going to do, but if he wants DHop, I think that there's a good chance they're going to get him. So I'm going to go Cowboys. That's like my sleeper pick. But as
Okay.
much as I don't want that to happen, because I know Matt is the same. We can't stand the Cowboys or their fans. I think that would make sense for him to go there. So
It was kind of interesting. DHop made it pretty clear on like which QBs that he wants to play for. I think that also plays a pretty big role. Say even with the Patriots, I don't really think you'd want to play with Mac Jones. He's had a few seasons down with Kyler Murray already. I don't think he's impressed at all with him. He made it clear that he wants to play with like a really top QB like Mahomes or Josh Allen or Lamar. So I would kind of have to agree with Matt. I think it's a pretty good fit. Go on to the Bills. That would make for a very scary receiver core. Himself, Diggs, he's a perennial number 1 receiver already. And then you have Gabe Davis as well. Probably one of the better
And
slot.
then you have the
Dalton
tight ends as well
Kincaid.
too. You
Yeah,
have
Gabe.
Knox, Dawson
Yeah,
Knox,
if not,
and Kincaid, the guy from Utah.
yeah.
So
That's true. It makes for a very scary core. The reason why I only really don't see the Chiefs as like a top pick for that as well. I don't really think, well, I mean, not even because the Chiefs don't even really have the cap space to sign a guy like DHop. Maybe for a vet minimum if he really, really wants to play for the Chiefs, but I don't think it's going to happen realistically.
I think. Oh, sorry, Sam. Are you
Oh,
done?
well, no, I was just gonna say really quickly. I think the Chiefs are perfectly fine where they're at. They still have Kadarius Toney. He is very hyped up to be a very good receiver next season, especially with Mahomes passing to him. We still have Kelsey, same old Kelsey. He's gonna drop 1,000 yards, like it's nothing. We still have sleeper guys like Jody Fortson, Sky Moore. I think they're gonna do good
Oh,
too.
here we go talking about the Chiefs again.
Okay, Charles. As much as you want to talk about the Cowboys more. I
Whoa,
see it over
no,
there.
that
Yeah.
was Matt who talked about the Cowboys. That wasn't even me.
Anyway, we still have guys like Jerick McKinnon. We still have CEH on our team. I don't know if he's gonna do anything at all, but
So on
yeah.
that note, I'll stop Sam from talking about the Chiefs.
Okay.
Wait,
That was a good
last
idea.
sleeper team for the Lions. I'm on NFC again, or is the
Well,
Lions for the
You just said the
Hopkins?
line. Yeah, you just said the
Yeah,
line.
sorry,
oh,
I
Of
messed
course
up.
is the Lions, Charles.
I think sleeper team
Okay.
NFC that's not those is the Saints.
Yeah, I can see
Really?
it.
Well, because they have a lot of cap room, and then you pair them with Chris Olave and you have Derek Carr, and they're in a dome, and they play in a warm weather division. And so usually at the end of the career, right, players kind of want to do more like warm weather type places, right? And so
Yeah,
you're
I
playing
guess I can see that.
in Carolina, Tampa Bay, and Atlanta. So two of those are domes, right? In Atlanta and New Orleans, and then two of those is Tampa and Carolina. Like that's pretty good weather. And if he wants to make the playoffs, I mean, I'd say the NFC is a little bit easier to make the playoffs at least this year and potentially next year compared to the AFC. But that's just the thought. I mean, I
Yeah.
think he'll go. I mean, I still think he'll probably try some with the Bills because, I mean, hey, just because you can get Super Bowl doesn't mean you're going to win it. And I'd say people who come to the AFC, I think any of those teams are kind of better than like the top team in the NFC at this point. But
They need that
DHop.
star power too, definitely. I can agree. I think DHop probably does have some bias over playing more in a dome stadium because that's all he kind of experienced in his career, playing with the Texans at NRG and then State Farm Stadium. That stadium is pretty trash, I think, but it's still domed. So
it's actually a good stadium.
You think so?
Yeah, I really like it. I've been there a couple times.
I haven't been there personally, so I can't give an opinion on that. I'm sure it's a beautiful stadium. I
mean, nice. I mean, if you compare it to Allegiant, like, of course, it's not as nice.
That's true.
But like Allegiant is like, I mean,
Allegiant is like brand new. Yeah.
Yeah, Allegiant's brand new. I think compared to any dome stadium. I mean, I think the one that could rival it is probably like the Mercedes-Benz one, the one in Atlanta. But
yeah,
I mean, hey, I think Cincinnati would love to have a dome stadium.
Oh, definitely.
They've barely got a dome practice field, so
same with the Bills for sure. Like in a place like New York, that kind of setting too.
Mm-hmm.
The main reason why I threw some hate on State Farm Stadium though was all of the turf allegations that they had last season. How the turf is always placed. That always kind of angered me. But
I think State Farm is just because I think Mahomes might be in on that. It is State Farm Stadium, and he's sponsored by State Farm, so he might have been like, "Hey, let's make the turf."
Yeah, but in that case, though, wouldn't he be like praising State Farm since he's collaborating with State Farm already? Because Mahomes
maybe it's a ploy. Maybe he's trying to go along with it. But
maybe
they helped him. They helped him win. They helped him win.
Yeah.
LeBron actually took a page out of Mahomes' book for a little media manipulation to get everyone to talk about it.
I mean, if you look, did Mahomes really slip on the turf very much?
No. You know who did slip? You know who had to change out cleats? Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown slipped.
Like, hey,
I mean,
plant this stuff. I'll come to the State Farm headquarters. I'll run some routes, do some stuff with my cleats, do that. I think Patrick Mahomes is in on it.
You think so?
I mean, might have a something similar to
Deflategate. Some turf gate going on.
Yeah, turf gate.
I think it could be.
I think it's a little biased just because the Chiefs won in the Eagles spot, but.
Whoa, and you think it's biased for Deflategate because we won a Super Bowl too?
I wouldn't say that, but I will say there were some pretty clear complaints from the Chiefs, especially week 1 against the Cardinals going way back to the start of last season.
He was just in on it this whole time.
No, they hated
on it the whole time.
Everyone complained about the turf whenever the Super Bowl happened as well.
This is what Patrick Mahomes saw. He saw, I'm going to play week 1 and week 21 and State Farm Stadium. So if I start week 1 and say, I hate the turf, then when it comes my turn to play and we have to replan it, I can go to headquarters, go to HQ, dap up my boy, freaking CP3, whatever. And then he's like, hey, I gotta run some routes for me so I can, do my cleats, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think it was from week 1. I think Patrick Mahomes, I think
I think that when Andy Reid was on set, they were already working with him then.
Oh yeah.
Like, hey, this we're playing here week 1 and week 21. So like
they had a really so you're saying they had a really
scoop?
Long build up to that. They had the NFL script already.
Yeah. They had the script. Yeah. Early. 100%. They're the only team that has the script.
Okay. Yeah. The script makers actually had the season outcomes right next to them as they're making the script. That's why the Chiefs played week 1.
I mean, I think we should probably send it to Roger Goodell.
You think so?
I mean, he's a clown. He'll probably take it.
It's true. He probably accepts anything. As long as there's like a big dollar bill next to it, he'll take it.
It's true. What if he's something like a good old 20? I think he'll take it.
Maybe. Oh, I would definitely take that. I would definitely take that kind of money.
I think.
But
Roger's in about the same position that you are, Sam.
So if Bray got suspended for 4 games for this, what should Mahomes get?
Oh, I mean, at least 8. I mean, he physically.
I wasn't even gonna stop there. I was gonna say at least 17.
Oh wow. See,
The
I was
whole
gonna be like
season.
that, where we're like, hey, 4-game suspension or double it and pass it on. I think Tom Brady said, "Oh, I'll pass it on," and then boom, now it's Patrick
Double and
Mahomes.
give it to the next person.
Yeah, so now it's Patrick Mahomes because it's doubled.
Yeah. So
Uh,
yeah, you're saying Mahomes or not Mahomes, Brady walked so Mahomes could run in this situation.
Yes, when it comes to suspensions, yeah. Brady's like, hey, I'll give you the playbook. Here's what you do. He
He
kind of do some
contacted
stuff,
he
whatever.
contacted Calvin Ridley in the offseason. It's like, hey, how did I get that indefinite suspension that you got? I want to be
Exactly.
like you.
I mean, hey, it
common,
looks like
common
Jackson
Samuel.
Mahomes did it. So, hey,
You're right. Now,
Hey,
unlike
but
the
hey, at the
scoring
end of the
models,
day, a win is a win, no matter how
that's
you
true. A
get
win's a
there.
win.
Hey, it's like the old baseball quote, from way back in the day: "If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying."
It's true.
So,
it's like a Pete Rose saying. You can't quote Pete Rose like that.
and that's why the Astros should have gotten no punishment for their cheating scandal.
Oh my god. Yeah,
All
as long
right.
as no one goes to the Hall of Fame.
I think we're already at 45, aren't we?
We are at 45, but we
Yeah.
have to get our last segment in.
All right. We can get it in. We've been going over anyway, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
The two other boys on this podcast, they've had a big topic brewing, so I want to get them some time to talk about it. They've been following it a lot, so I want to give their
gotta crack the
So what
knuckles.
Sam's
loosen up
trying
a little
to
bit.
do is all the leagues in Europe ended this weekend with some drama for sure. As you all know, Sam, Charles, and myself all picked a Premier League team to root for. Well, Charles picked one earlier this year, but now for at least for the next couple years, maybe we're going to root for these teams at least. I picked Newcastle, and they're going to be in the Champions League next year. Sam picked Tottenham, and they are going to be in nothing next year because they suck. And then Charles picked Brighton, and they finished in 6th place in the Premier League, and they're going to do the Europa League, first time in Europe for them. So pretty cool, pretty exciting. So, and
Let's go Seagulls.
I didn't even hit the lap thing. So, anyways, so Charles, how are you feeling about Brighton playing in Europe next year? Oh, and I do want to hear your thoughts on the TikTok that I sent both you boys and how you thought of that.
Okay, so I didn't really start following until a couple weeks ago, to be honest. I know I picked Brighton to start, but I didn't really keep up with them. I just know Matt was like, "Your team's not doing too bad," and I checked like a couple times, and they were in like maybe 9th at the time. And I was like, "Yeah, that's not too bad." And then I started getting more into it, but Matt had to explain the Europa League to me and the Champions League to me. I didn't even know what it meant, to be honest, because he was like, "You guys are in position to qualify for Europa right now." And I was like, "Well, what does that mean?" And so we had a big talk about that. But the fact that they'd never made it before this season, I told Matt I must be Cinderella because I just gave them the magic, I guess, because as soon as I picked them as my team, they make it to Europe for the first time ever, which is crazy. So, I mean, that's just awesome. Of course, I talked with Matt in depth about this. I'm not a fan of how the team that gets us there doesn't get to compete necessarily in Europa next year because we're going to lose guys to the big clubs because I'm not a big fan. Like I was telling Matt, because it seems like it's just bullying, to be honest. The big clubs with all the money and all the power just kind of take your guys if they want and they're able to, because I mean, I don't blame our guys because they're going to get more money. They're going to get more opportunity, bigger market, bigger city. But it just sucks because we're going to lose some of our best guys. So the team that got us there is not even going to get to compete in Europa next year, which I think is really dumb. But I did think Europa was more of a postseason type of thing. I didn't know it was like more of its own season necessarily. So it makes a little more sense. But I am sad about that, to see some of our guys go. I know 2 of them are scheduled to go because there's some team. I know Arsenal is into one of them as one of the clubs going for them. But hey, I'm excited. It's on Paramount Plus, which I have, so I'll definitely be checking that out. We could get crushed in the group stage. We could easily lose all the games and be done, but at least we're there. So unlike Sam and Tottenham, who, thanks to us, we let Aston Villa win because it didn't really matter because we were already clinched in 6, which got us Europa. Aston Villa was behind us, and they were in front of Tottenham, and since they beat us, Tottenham got 8th and didn't qualify for anything besides the Premier League again next year. So that makes me happy.
Yeah.
And I told Matt that's what I wanted. So
yeah, okay. Since the Chiefs are doing so well, I have to pick a team to get clowned on a little bit. Yeah, I found out this morning that I didn't realize Tottenham was kind of basically the Browns in the soccer world. Their whole franchise has been dog water. I don't want to be too rude on them, but their whole franchise has been dog water ever since they were founded.
They're like the Power Five, though, the Premier League. That's what Matt was saying. They're like
Yeah,
one of
they're
the top.
they're called Big Six because they like
Big
have
Six.
like the most money, like one of the most money, right? But they've never won a
really? I'm surprised. I'm surprised by you saying that because usually they're pretty perennial teams like Chelsea and Man City that always have a ton of money to spend, and like Charles is saying too, they kind of just scoop up all the good players, all the money and power that they have, and just
it's all the leagues, the good teams in all the
mean,
leagues.
True. The Big Six in the Premier League, it's Man City, Man United, Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal, and oh my goodness, who's the number 6? Liverpool. Yeah, thank you, Liverpool.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yep. So that's what they call the Big Six. So
maybe they should rename it to the Little One for Tottenham.
As Tottenham.
Yeah, for Tottenham.
Should be Big 6 plus 1 or Big 5 plus 1.
Yeah, Big 5 plus the little brother.
Hey, all I know is, as Matt said, that TikTok he sent us, it seems like they don't have a great reputation, which is why you're calling them the Browns. And
that's pretty much where
that manager loves every other, he feels like he has connection with all these other clubs he's coached. He named like 7 of them. And he's like, well, except
Tottenham.
Whatever the guy's owner's name. He said, except his team.
Yeah, Jose Mourinho. That was the coach.
Except he said that at the end.
It's funny because Jose Mourinho, at every club he's been at, he's won at least 1 trophy. Mm-hmm. And then at Tottenham, he was there for like a year or 2 and didn't win anything because he was like, oh, yeah, the owner wasn't giving me the players I wanted, didn't really let me coach. So, yeah, I don't really care for them. So,
yeah.
Ouch. Well, I guess I'm going to have to piggyback on them. I will definitely root for them in the Premier League.
Hey, but that means that for next season, the Premier League, that'll be fun for all of us. We all chose different teams. So
that is true. That will be fun. Exciting things to come for that. Hopefully I'm not like that guy and I'm just like, Tottenham is the absolute worst. They don't do anything for me. They need to send me like a little jersey or something so I can rep them along with you guys and your teams. So
hey, also I just gotta say shout out to Roberto De Zerbi, the Brighton man. His first year leads us to Europa, so he seems like he's a up and coming guy for sure because he come from a Ukrainian Premier League team before we hired him. So, and he might be gone too soon then, but whatever. and that's why Matt said I gotta get a power team. I can't just root for Brighton because it's going to be really hard for them to have success like this every year with how soccer is constructed. So my goal by the end of the summer, probably this before the start of next season, is to pick a power team in any of the leagues. So,
I mean, Brighton can be your first love, of course.
Yeah,
but you always have like that power team. Like, okay, I really like them.
They can at least be consistently like in contention to win championships.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sure. Hey, we got to talk about your. I mean, you obviously you're kind of loving Newcastle a little bit, but we got to talk about your number one true love, who you've loved since birth. Well, ever since I've known you, at least, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And that is Bayern Munich, who I thought it was they're what is it now, 12 or 11 in a row?
It's 11.
There are 10. I guess it was 10 Bundesliga League streak championship was in serious jeopardy. Dortmund was up 2 points. Each had 1 match to go. But if Dortmund won, they controlled their own destiny. If they won, they were the champions, right?
Mm-hmm.
But any other scenario, and Bayern wins. And guess
except
what?
Except for if Bayern tied. If
Bayern
tied,
or lost. But I knew they weren't going. I knew they weren't going to. I knew they were going to win. I mean, I knew they were going to win. We don't have to argue that. But Dortmund choked. Oh man. I think I don't know what happened. The pressure must have gotten to them because they had a disastrous first half against. Let me pull it up. I forgot the name. Against Mainz. Mainz, who I've never heard of. And when you look at the standings, Mainz is, I guess they're in ninth, so they're not like a complete pushover, but they were on a big losing streak to end the season.
4-game losing streak, and they allowed 13 goals in that 4 games.
Yeah. And if you're Dortmund, you gotta just take care of business and win that one. And they had a disastrous first half. I feel so bad for him because I know a lot of people were rooting for him. I'm happy for Matt, of course, but like it would have been cool to finally see another team kind of take over. Because, if I'm being honest, Bayern is like the Patriots of the AFC East when Tom Brady was there, just farming the division. Because I was looking at the top comments of there was a post about them, and one of the top comments said Farmers League.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's it wasn't it like an I wasn't able to look at the stats exactly. That's still something I gotta improve on with my soccer knowledge, and Matt will help me. But there was an own goal in that game, right? Or somewhere something.
In which one?
The Dortmund game, or it was like I know one of them missed a penalty kick, right?
Penalty. Yeah,
I know that happened.
Yeah, so I was following it on my phone because I was actually helping someone move with my dad. So like, I actually wasn't watching it, which honestly was probably a good thing because I would have been stressing out like probably the whole hour and a half or whatever. So what happened was Bayern scored early, like in the 8th minute, 1-0. And then in soccer, what's funny is once they score, like in the arenas, like on the last day and stuff, like people will either get it or the arena will announce it, right? And so after that, I think in the 15th minute, Mainz scored 1-0, but then Dortmund got a penalty, but the regular penalty taker didn't take it. It was someone else. Actually, it was Sebastian Aller, and he actually is a cancer survivor. Like he had cancer earlier in the year and came back. Anyways, he missed a penalty, and then like 3 minutes later, Mainz scored again, made it 2-0. Dortmund made it 2-1 with like 70 minutes to go. And then what happened in the Bayern game was there's a corner kick. Anyways, one of the Bayern players jumps out and it hits his hand in the box. And the other team, Köln, that's who was playing Bayern, they got a penalty and they made it. So it was 1-1. And then so Dortmund was like, okay, even if we do lose this game, right, like we'll still win because they'll be a point behind, whatever. But then one of the Bayern players, Jamal Musiala, he's like 20 years old. He scored in the 89th minute to make it 2-1 for Bayern. And then Dortmund did score in like the 97th minute because you do 90 plus whatever the injury time is. They did score, but it wasn't enough. And so they ended up tying on points. It was 71 points each. But because of goal differential, Bayern won the league. So basically means that they scored more. They do like goals for, goals against, whatever the number is. That's like your goal differential, and that's how Bayern won. Is because they were better in that area. So kind of a crazy last day though. Like if you're watching soccer, I think everyone would want that to be like every single last day for a league, no matter what team it is, So
I mean, I'm like I said, I gotta admit, I was rooting for Dortmund, to be honest, because it would have been cool to see.
I think everyone was. I mean, even myself, like there was. I mean, granted, didn't really want Dortmund to win because it's like a rival, But at the end of the day, too, it's like, well, Bayern has played so bad this year that like I hope someone else does win because I don't think Bayern will play this bad next year. Like there's just a lot of things going their way, and it's been 10 years. Like, it is kind of nice to see other people win, but then they didn't. And I was like, I mean, I wasn't too upset. I was like really happy, but like in the soccer terms, instead of choking, they call it bottling. So like they bottled it. So basically Dortmund bottled their chance to win the league for sure.
100%. They bottled it.
Mm-hmm.
Matt's been teaching me some soccer terms lately, or some football terms.
Football,
so my last thing real quick, Matt. So you know how I picked Brighton, and what was your initial thought on Brighton, like how they would do?
I think I have in my notes. I think I had the prediction, I think.
Oh yeah. You predicted all 20 in the Premier League. I think you did it for every league. Yeah, where'd you have Brighton finish?
Okay. MattyB, I had Brighton at 15th.
Oh, the disrespect. So you were not expecting this then. So yeah.
Yeah.
Who were you? Yeah, who else were you like off on in the Premier League?
Well, I think I got well, so the relegation people I didn't get right at all. So
Nice.
I had Leicester City and Leeds at 6 and 7, and they got relegated, so they were very bad. And then wasn't Southampton? Didn't they also?
They got last. Yeah.
Okay, so I had them at 19, so that's not bad. You had none of the teams as relegated, so
I made predictions for this.
Yeah, you did.
Oh my god, I don't want to even look at that.
Yeah.
Who'd have it? You just
Brighton was number 1, Crystal Palace 2, Tottenham 3.
Wait, who was number 2? Wait, who's 2?
Crystal Palace.
Okay.
And Tottenham was 3, Nottingham Forest was 4, Arsenal 5, 6 was Newcastle, etc. I mean, I had Newcastle.
I'm pretty sure I ranked them off logos. I think that's what I did. I don't think I actually ranked them. Yeah.
And then I think I did some for all the other leagues too.
You did all of the leagues. That was a long episode. I remember. I was basically Sam right now when you did that. You were just going off on ranking all the teams, and I was like, I don't know what he's doing. And now I'm kind of interested in what he picked. So maybe Sam will be interested in a couple months in soccer.
Maybe. I mean, for Bundesliga, you picked Bayern as 6 and Dortmund as 10. So,
I mean,
pretty safe picks.
I picked Bayern as 6. I think that just disqualifies me from having any soccer knowledge.
Yeah,
I mean, I was actually pretty close on mine. I did Bayern as 1, Dortmund as 2, Leverkusen was 3, Leipzig was 4, and then Freiburg was 5. So not too bad. Wasn't too off.
Congrats. I forgot you did all the predictions. I just wanted to hear your Premier League
I'll have to put them in the little group thing so everyone can see. And then next year we can all make we'll make
new predictions.
I think Brighton might finish 15th next year though, to be honest, but we'll see.
We'll see. So anyways.
Yeah. Sweet. That was awesome. This was a great episode. Sam, you got through it. You got through the soccer.
Yeah, we got through it. I will eventually learn more on the soccer lingo.
So
football lingo.
We got a little bit of dead time right now in soccer, right? Nothing for a little bit at least.
You'll have the FA Cup final, and then you'll have Champions League. Other than that, it won't start up until August again. August.
Which, by the way, that Brighton, like I said, lost in a shootout in the FA semifinal against was it Man City? I think.
I think it was Man City.
Yeah, we tied 0-0 and went to PKs and we lost.
Yeah.
PK. So we actually could have been in that potentially. So that sucks. But bro, it makes me so happy. I can't believe the team I picked is actually like somewhat competitive.
It's cool.
Thanks, Matt. I think Matt laughing at him. I think they saw that and they used that as motivation. They had a picture of Matt laughing in their locker room.
Hey, I'm just happy the boys are starting to like soccer. So that's all I care about.
I don't know about Sam, but at least I am.
Dude, so. I'm the biggest Tottenham fan there is. I was so sad to hear they got relegated yesterday.
Choke. Well, no, they didn't get relegated.
They didn't.
No, you just didn't qualify for any
Europe
thing. Yeah.
Oh, but they're still
in the Premier League. Yeah, they're still in the Premier League. They just didn't qualify for like the competition where you like can face anyone in Europe, so like teams from Russia or Portugal or Germany. You know,
I'm so pumped to watch Brighton.
So in that was Tottenham good enough to not get relegated, but they didn't qualify for anything cool?
Yep.
Okay.
That's fine. They weren't even close to getting relegated. Still, they were still in the top half. Only the bottom 3 teams in the Premier League get relegated. You guys were 8th, so 2019 and 18 get relegated, and so you were way up.
Okay,
but yeah,
that's not so bad then.
The top 7 in the Premier League this year got to go to Europe, and you guys missed it by a point.
We missed it by a point.
Yeah,
it does suck, but we could.
You guys kind of choked it away, to be honest, little bit. Or sorry, bottled it up.
We bottled it up. Yes.
Yeah. So hey, I got you, Matt. I got you.
Well, on that note, boys, I think it's the end of our podcast for today. We've talked a lot. We've done some good stuff. Hopefully everyone can watch the finals tonight. Have a good finals, of course, or not good finals, a good a good conference finals, for Heat and Celtics. Thank you all for humoring us with our soccer talk. We do appreciate that. And, we'll be interested to see where DHop lands. Other than that,
happy Memorial Day.
Happy Memorial Day,
because this should come out today. Yeah, it should come out today.
Thanks to all the troops and all the freedom that we have. God bless America, as they say. But that is it for Win to Win podcast today. Sam Cookie, HDouble, MattyB. Peace.
Give you the wave.